What's going down, people? So, there's been this weird, uh, I guess you could say, trend going with Square Enix. I'm gonna say it's a weird trend because I don't see anybody else doing this but Square Enix. Hopefully it will change. Don't know if it will or not. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it doesn't become the norm. But at the same time, I kind of wish Ubisoft would take a page and do this at least once for their Assassin's Creed franchise. And that is, of course, talking about the Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition. I don't know why they have HD written on there. I think the phone version is probably going to look a hell of a lot better, even if the graphical um, textures and everything are the same. Phones have been known to be more powerful than the Switch. So why they put HD on this, I'll never understand. It doesn't make sense to me. They shouldn't put HD on there. But that aside, let's just talk about this, okay? Because a lot of people are in their feelings about it. A lot of people are like, "Is it worth it?" Da 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 da. And a lot of people are like, "It's technically the same game," and technically, yes, it's the same game. But there are big enough changes to the Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition on Switch that it's noticeable. It's very noticeable, the changes between Final Fantasy XV on the Xbox One and PS4 versus the Switch, and I don't mean just graphics. The playstyle, the handling, and all that. Very much, very noticeable, very different. Um, and one thing that I thought with this, considering they put HD on it, I figured maybe we won't lose the open world aspect because, I mean, come on now, Octopath Traveler, Bravely Default 1, Bravely Default 2, all have basically the same art style. You can't say they don't. They have a bigger top, like a bigger upper body, and then these little tiny like nub feet. Okay, that's something that's been going on within um, Square Enix since Bravely Default. I mean, I Am Senzu has the same art style. So I was thinking, okay, maybe it'll still be open world to a degree. It'll just be downgraded graphically and look more like the Pocket Edition on a phone, but it won't be a stronger output of graphics because phones have the better output graphical power than the Switch does, which is weird, but still, it's not the case. There is no open world aspect here. Um, so it's like playing the older games. That just looked like it was going to be a bad thing. Anyway, it's not. It's not open world. There is no real uh, side quest-ish type things that make the original Final Fantasy 15 so great. For one instance, at the very beginning, you do a fishing mission to feed a cat. That's not there. You also have the ability to go run around the world and just, you know, um, search and spend hours upon hours just being wandering the world. That's not here either. Again, these are big changes that are very noticeable, aside from the art direction, aside from the graphical output. Okay, because everybody gonna say, well, the graphics are dumbed down. Who the fuck? Nobody cares. Okay, nobody cares about your little whining over your graphical output. Go jerk off with your PS4 or Xbox One X. Nobody cares. Because if you cared that damn much, you wouldn't even pay attention to the consoles. You wouldn't pay a damn bit of attention to the PS4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch. You would have a computer pretty much jammed up your ass. Let's just be honest. Graphics, when it comes to playing on consoles, while they're important, they're yay important in comparison to everything else. And that's where a lot of this comes into play, where you don't really get what it is that's different. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I wouldn't ever say that because why in the fuck would I? It doesn't even make sense. Um, so overall, the game is good. I'll give them that. I can listen to the Japanese voice acting as opposed to the English acting, which both are fine, to be honest. They're both fine. I don't really give a shit either fucking way. It's not like it's Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and you have to have the Japanese voice acting on there because the English acting is just horrible. It's not that. Um, but this is like the beginning of a flood of Square Enix, and hopefully Square Enix gets rid of this trend they have. I hope they can get past it because I want to see Final Fantasy VII like it was. I want to see it like it was on the PS1, on the PS4 with the computer port, or the PC port of the game itself. They need to use those because I don't see how those games with that amount of time between when they originally came out to now would be too damn difficult for the Switch. The Switch isn't that far behind. It isn't, you know, oh, well, let's push in 95 graphics. No, it's not doing that. You could easily put Final Fantasy VII, the original PlayStation 1 copy or PC version, on the Switch because the Switch is still very much more capable than what PCs were back then. Very much more capable than what PlayStation was back when the first one was out. The Switch is definitely able to handle that. So, hopefully, this small little toothpick leg figures that they've been going on with Square Enix games will come to a halt once Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, 10 2, and 12 release. Because 15 unfortunately falls in that category of just toothpick legs and good character looks, just annoying at some points. And like I said, Square Enix has been doing that kind of design for Nintendo for a while. It was, I believe, started with Bravely Default. Bravely Default's a good looking game, don't get me wrong. It's just if that series had made it on anything else, I think it would have looked 100 times better than it looks on the 3DS. I'm not mad that it's not on anything else. I'm just saying something that I think we all can agree on, which is the 3DS version of Bravely Default is a beautiful game. It looks good. Same thing with I Am Sensua. It's just you feel like if those games would have been on a more powerful console, the graphical output, the way the game plays, the way it handles, would have been a hell of a lot better. And not so closed in. It's almost claustrophobic how closed in Final Fantasy 15 feels in comparison to the original. And like I said, the fact that this is a game that's on cell phones, and cell phones have a lot of power. Do not take nothing away from that. Cell phones and tablets have a lot of power and are able to push out incredible looking games. But the fact they took away the open world aspect and the you take your time and do whatever the fuck you feel type thing, I think this is one of those games that unfortunately will be classified as not really as good as it should be. Just due to the fact of how much is taken out of the game to make this to the Switch and how much is sacrificed just to have this on Switch to begin with. Instead of, oh, it's great to see it on the Switch, because I'm thinking, hey, it's great to have it on the Switch, but at the same time, there's so much that defined 15 that's not in this. I can get past the character's downgrade look and looking like a 3DS version of Bravely Default on the Switch. I can get past that. What I can't get past is I want my stupid side quest missions like feeding the cat. I want my stupid side quest missions where I'm being told, hey, go look for him instead of it just being part of it. I want to have my stupid side quest of fighting all these monsters and being a monster hunter in so many ways. From going into where you buy restaurants to where you go buy food. Excuse me. But I want those aspects, and unfortunately those aspects of the game are not there, even with playing a dumbed down graphical version of the game. I don't think it's so much more powerful that they needed to take that out. I really don't. I think they could have done a lot more with the game, and especially knowing this is a Switch version, more people are going to play this version than the one on their cell phone because it's on the Switch. I think that's something that they could have thought of, and they could have definitely did better with it. Considering, like I said, Bravely Default's a great game, but this is not a game that's on the 3DS and being held back due to technical uh, shit from a system that has a lot of age to it, like the 3DS. This is the Switch. The Switch is still brand new. It's only 2 years old. The system has more abilities than the 3DS when it comes to pushing out graphics. It's got more abilities than the 3DS when it comes to pushing out a wider, more open gameplay. And Final Fantasy 15, I feel like it doesn't live up to the standards that it should. And the fact that there's so much removed from the gameplay, it's almost like an entirely different version of the game. And a lot of people try to play it off like, oh, it's not that noticeable. It is noticeable. Do not listen to those people. They have no idea. They're just trying their damnedest to justify it. There is a big enough noticeable difference that you might just want to stay with the PS4 or the Xbox One version of this game. And I'm not going to blame you for that. I don't think anyone should. So, that being said, yes, Final Fantasy 15 is on the Switch, but no, it's not nowhere near close to the Xbox One or PS4 version, and that is not even talking graphically. I'm just saying overall, there are major parts to Final Fantasy 15 that make its identity what it is, and a lot of that is ripped out. A lot of that is sacrificed, and I don't think it really had to be. But that's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think of Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. Like I said, it's a great uh, game to have if you don't have a PS4 or an Xbox One and you want to play the game because it technically is the same game. It's just missing a lot of key elements from the original to uh, to say that it's perfect. There's just so much missing there. Open world aspects, side missions, and the side missions they do let you have that are replaced by the ones you know are not really satisfying in the way they should be. I'm just gonna say that because it ought to be said, and a lot of people will not say that just because they don't want to hurt so and so's feelings wherever they're at. But that is the overall gist of it. I will see you guys next time. Deuces.